Hey, you're listening to Stop the Scroll, a social media marketing podcast, and I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt. I'm a social media strategist and agency owner with over 15 years of marketing experiences helping businesses grow online. We'll be diving into what you need to know so that you can show up confidently online without the overwhelm. Get your notebook ready to jot down some amazing marketing gems, and let's dive into it. Welcome back to another episode of Stop the Scroll. I'm your host, Heidi Schmidt, and today I have an amazing guest on. My guest is Jen Howat, and Jen is a wife, a mom, a strategist, and a Kajabi specialist. She has spent over 16 years in the ministry arena, serving as a solo pastor, head of staff, associate pastor for discipleship, and a coach before pivoting to building online courses and memberships. Ding, ding, ding. Her experience leading an organization, developing staff, coaching leaders, and communicating hundreds of messages has uniquely equipped her to bring her clients' dreams to life. Her passion is helping business owners reach more people, increase their income, and leave a lasting legacy. She believes that you can do what you love without losing yourself along the way and loves helping her clients see all that is possible. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you, Heidi.
So, fun fact, Jen and I are in the same mastermind, and what she does just absolutely fascinates me. So let's dive right into it. Tell us about how your background in ministry and coaching, what kind of inspired you to pivot into this online business space and helping others build their digital platforms?
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think that a former pastor ends up building online courses and memberships for people. So But there are actually two things. I think the first thing is I had experience in the Kajabi platform and in building a membership specifically, because after I left traditional ministry, I had already had some experience coaching other pastors and helping them create healthy cultures. And I was doing some traveling for that, but I really wanted a way that I could help people meet together without me always having to travel as well. And so I was talking to people. This was 2018, 2019. The digital space was really starting to come on the scene. And so I decided to take the framework of what I did. I had a framework for leaders to create healthy rhythms and boundaries. And I took that framework and I created it online with a program that we could go through each phase of the framework with some core content, but also then had group coaching that we did together. So it was by those means that I learned, like, what is a membership? What do I need to do for a membership? How do I talk about this? Like, I learned all the strategic pieces, but I also learned the tech because it was me and I had to figure it out. And somebody mentioned Kajabi, and that's really how I got connected to that specific software. And it was intuitive for me. I just thought it was easy to connect the pieces, and I really enjoyed the experience. And I really loved putting it together and kind of sitting back and watching everything work. And so that really was a key piece for me. But also in terms of helping my clients, a lot of what I did in my role as a leader was I had to create this culture and environment where we took people from where they were to where they wanted to be. You know, they were people who maybe didn't have a faith background or a relationship with God. And so you help a church think through what are the steps, what are the milestones, what's the journey of someone. And then you create pieces that will help them get from where they are to where they want to be. And that's what a membership or a program is all about, is you're helping your people go from where they are to where they want to be. So interestingly, that background also has helped me help my clients pick out those pieces as they're starting to put their programs together.
So what is the first sign that a business owner, especially those of us that do a lot of one-to-one work, and I know some of my listeners do, I certainly do, even though I have my team. What's the first sign that it's time to kind of scale with some sort of digital offer? And how do you help your clients choose what that digital offer looks like?
There's a couple signs. I would say a few of the main signs are number one, you just simply are at your capacity. Because the one thing that we have not been able to figure out how to do is how do we create more time for ourselves? We still all operate within 24 hours a day.
Everyone has the same 24 hours.
That's right. That's right. And so if you are really at your max and you can't take on any more clients, that is a really good sign that it's time to scale. And if you have a framework that other people are asking for and they want more of it, but you don't have time to be adding more workshops, for instance, or more openings for people even to come into maybe a program that's larger, this is a great sign that you can create something that people consume at their own pace. So if you have a process, a framework, you've already helped people get results, and you're seeing that you've already maxed yourself out of time, or honestly, maybe you're at the point where you just want to spend time doing other things. You know,
Yeah.
you should have a life, I mean, your business is part of who you are, but it's not all of who you are. You have a life, you have other roles and relationships and even other business interests that you
hmm
want to pursue. And so those I think are some key signs to say, this would be a great time to explore those ideas.
I've seen a lot about like mini courses. I've talked about, memberships and kind of a group offer. Is there a type of digital offer that's easier to launch than others? And how do you really decide, if you know that you have your framework and everything, how do you help your clients kind of decide what that offer is?
Well, I'd say to answer your first question, one of the harder things to launch is a membership because a membership is something that's ongoing. So,
Mhm,
and there are ways in which you can create a membership where you're not always producing something new, but
mhm.
depending on the type of membership, you may be offering something different or something new, whether it's a new video or a new resource on a recurring basis. And so you do have to ask yourself, do you have the bandwidth for that?
Yeah,
Because it's an ongoing commitment. It's also an ongoing commitment for people who are, they might be in the membership and then they're moving out of the membership. I just listened to a podcast this morning, and the statistic was 2.5 months for people to be in a membership before they decide to bounce and leave if they're not able to figure out how to consume the content and get the
interesting.
results that they want. And I was surprised that it was that short.
That is really, really short. What do you think, and I've seen this with some memberships, about having kinda like a year-long like, how do you price that? How do you say, like, first of all, there's the whole, what should your membership be priced at? And I guess that comes down to knowing, like, this is what my offer is. But also, like, do you ever recommend, like, make it a year-long membership? Is it a year-long commitment? Or how do you kinda determine what that kind of structure looks like?
Well, that is the beautiful and frustrating thing about things online these days because it used to be you pay once, you get a course, you do it, and you're done.
Mhm,
Used to be you join a membership and you're just paying every month and you go for the ride until you want it to stop. Like those are
mhm.
the two options. And now there are so many different ways that you can do it. You could have a 6-month program where it is like a membership, you're paying every month, but there's a start and an end to it. You could have it be a year-long program. I think the biggest question is going back to thinking through who is this program for? What
Mhm.
problem does it solve? And what would be the best mechanism for your people to learn the things that they need to learn? And what do you want to do? Because again, you want to be able to fit your capacity. I think you can make a program fit any kind of container. You
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's a container that you're good with. And I think a lot of times a great first strategy, because I always will tell my clients, your first version is not your final version. And Where you start is not where you need to stay. So no matter what decision you make, it's okay. You make it
Yeah.
and then you change it if you want to. But one of the ways you can do it, if you're kind of like, I really don't want to get myself committed to this till time comes to an end, membership. But I do want to make it like this will be 6 months or this will be a year. That's a great first way to do it. And then you can decide, do you want them to, pay on a monthly
Mhm.
basis? Do you want them to, pay it in a couple different installments? You can give them different options, but you can run it that way. And then it comes to an end, which gives you a great opportunity to ask people what their experience was like, get their feedback, what worked well, what do you wish we would have covered that we didn't? And it's amazing the things that people will share with us, things that are really, number one, simple for us to do. And, and we're like, wow, that would put it like at a higher level. And you're thinking, I can do that really easily. I can handle it.
Yeah.
Or it's something that we just would have never thought of. And the reason is because we're just a few steps ahead and we think about it so much as the creator of the program rather than the one experiencing the program.
Mhm.
And that's why it's just so valuable to get people to give us, feedback around it. And then if you feel like, okay, now this is really starting to hit on cylinders, you could decide whether you want to do it again. It's for a year. And this also is another thing that will help with urgency with a membership that you can get into anytime. There's no like real sense of urgency. It's always, I can do that next week. I'll get to that next month. I'll join that. You put it on the list, right? Of like
Yeah.
things to join. But if
Mhm.
no, Heidi is doing her premier program membership and you can only get in starting in June. And if you don't hit it now, you're not going to get in until next year. Then people, they make sure that they get in because they know
Yeah.
that you're not going to do it again. So it can create a sense of urgency. But then if you love it, then you can decide, you know what, I'm just going to open this up all year round. So it's a guessing game to a degree. Anything is a guess until you test it, but it makes sure that it's something that honors your value because the
Yeah.
more of you, you are valuable. And the more people get of you, the more the price should be as it fits into your other offers. And it's going to get you excited to get up and to serve people.
Yeah. One of the things that has kind of been holding me back is just the overwhelm of
Mhm.
creating. The idea of like setting up something new, creating a funnel, creating all of the things. How do you I mean, obviously people hire you to do this, and I know you have different levels. This is what you do, but for the business owner who's like, "Yes, I need to do this. No, I don't have the money to invest in someone doing it for me." How do you kind of work with them to say, okay, you can afford me to do it for you? I know you have different levels, but like, how do you kind of coach them through that overwhelm?
I think the biggest thing is getting them to start with those foundational questions of who is this for and what problem
Mm-hmm.
solve. Because a lot of times, even for people that I build things for, sometimes I have people that come to me and they're like, Jen, I have this amazing idea. And they start to tell me all of the different pieces of content that they have and the videos and the workbooks and all of the things. And it's all amazing stuff. It's stuff that has worked with their
Mm-hmm.
clients, for years. And as I start to ask them, okay, let's talk about then when you put all this together, who's it for?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for them to say who it's for. The number one
Mm-hmm.
thing is like, well, it's for everybody. Like, of course, it's for, it's for everyone. But I mean, I've heard you say, like, if it's for everyone, it's for no one. Like you've said that
Yep,
too in things. And if you
absolutely.
try to create something that is for everyone, no one's going to know it's for them because it's
Mm-hmm.
just too big. And so one of the ways that people get overwhelmed is that they think about the content. What's the content going to be? And the temptation is because we want to serve people at a high level, we tend to take all of it and dump it in. And then it just becomes this mangled, weird mess.
Yeah.
And not only are we not sure what to do with it, but people that end up joining, they're not sure what to do with it either
Mm-hmm.
because it's valuable, but it's not really leading in one direction. And
Yeah.
the number one reason why people quit engaging in a course or leave a membership is overwhelm. That has been the statistic back in 2018, and it's still the statistic in 2025. It is overwhelm. So you also don't want to overwhelm your people. And it would be much better to make sure that you're solving one problem at a time. If
Mm-hmm.
you decide who's it for and what's the problem, then oh, okay, well, then this piece of content, that piece of content, because they all serve that person and solve that problem, becomes much easier and much more clear. And your people will get a better result. And there's nothing better than them saying, oh my goodness, this was amazing. What else do you have? Then you just solve
Yeah.
this problem.
Yeah. Tell me about a client that you've worked with that really, really transformed their business with either a course or a membership. What did that look like?
I would say that there's a couple clients that come to mind, but one of my clients is a therapist, and they have done a lot of events where
Mm-hmm.
they go and speak, and they do a lot of one-on-one work, but they didn't have a way of really being able to help teach people some foundational principles,
Mm-hmm.
conversations, unless they were in the room, with them. And so there is one client who they created an entire course that took them through the framework. And there are people who are interacting with that are talking about the types of life change that they've been able to experience. So the biggest thing for them was they were able to increase their impact. They were limited. They had the ceiling of impact because they had to be present in the
Mm-hmm.
room for everything. It has allowed them to expand their impact greatly. And I would say that that's true for other clients. Like I have a nonprofit who they're also putting, they have some mental health resources, and they have put things together to help other educators. And so
Mm-hmm.
expanding their impact. And then they're going to take what they've done once we've completed that year's worth of content, and then they'll still have it available to help educators in that regard. But then they're also going to create a version that they can sell to the public. And so you don't have to recreate the wheel. It's just a
Mm-hmm.
repackaging. And so that's really going to be changing their business as they move forward.
How do you see digital products or memberships or courses playing a role in the long-term impact for business owners? So, like, do you see this as kind of like a critical next step for business owners who are looking to grow, who maybe one, don't want to hire people, or two, have just like reached a capacity? Like for me, I know that the whole reason why I've considered this, and you and I were just talking about this before we jumped on, is it going to be a membership? Is it going to be a course? I'm leaning towards like a group consulting master class offer. Stay tuned, people. Because I know that I don't want to lead a large team. I don't consider myself a bad manager. It's more that like it doesn't play to necessarily my strengths. It's like I've never managed a large team. And so how does this kind of strategy, because it really is a strategy to your business, right? Play in kind of that long-term impact that business owners can have.
Well, I think that it increases your impact, like you were saying, it increases your income, and it increases your capacity to do other things, as
Mm-hmm.
well as the longevity of what you have. Because a lot of times, and this is actually one of the biggest challenges of my clients too, particularly that do one-on-one work. They have such a big, I want to say local following, but
Mm-hmm.
people who are well known in the community, they're making an impact where they are. There are people, coming to them. And one of the amazing things that can expand impact, income, longevity is to realize that there are other people that are outside your circle of
Mm-hmm.
geographical
Yeah.
location that are hungering for what you have. And so this allows you to take something that has been successful on the local level and
Mhm.
really take it to a level that where there are no barriers of entry in terms of what does my calendar look like? Can I travel to a conference or to a location on a specific day at a specific time? Or, does that person have the ability to do one more event or take on one more client? And
Mhm.
it really does make it so the business owner has more freedom. And
Yeah.
that freedom comes because you are making more money when you're able to have
Mhm.
additional offers that you put alongside of the other things inside your business ecosystem. But you then have the space because if you can create an offer where you are serving several hundred people, then
Mhm.
you may have then the ability to say, you know what, next time it's okay. I'm not going to have, maybe 10 one-on-one clients. I'm going to go down to 7. And you haven't changed your income ratio because you've been able to replace it and exceed it with this program. But then you've created all of this freedom where you
Mhm.
spend your time doing other business interests, pursuing other personal goals, doing other things for your community, with your family, those other roles that you're a part of. And so
Mhm.
I see it not just as a strategy for business, but it's also it can be a strategy to help a person be their whole selves and live a life that has some capacity for other things.
Yeah. And you and I were kind of talking about this before. What do you tell, if an entrepreneur kind of invests all this time into building this amazing course or membership, what do you tell them like if the momentum is slow? Like if they're like, "Hey, we have launched and I don't have anyone." What do you tell them? Like how do you kind of help them strategize that? Cuz I know you do a lot with not just the building, but also the whole strategy behind launching.
Yeah. Well, the first thing I tell them is congratulations. You are in the place that most people who have a course and membership find themselves. Because when we hear the stories, about like,
Mhm.
I created my first course and I just got 1,000 people. Those, if they're true, are the one-offs. Though that is not
Yeah.
typical. This is the long game. And so you could have an occasion where you create something and the response is gangbusters, and that's amazing. Celebrate that, ride that wave, and enjoy it because that doesn't always happen. And there is this then momentum that you have to create for yourself, which goes along the lines of how you talk about not just I have a membership or I have a course. That's interesting, but what is the transformation that people are going to experience as a result of being inside? And starting to tell those stories and starting to talk about the problems of the
Mhm.
people who are struggling with the problem that your course or membership solves. It really is storytelling. And when you can tell someone else's story, a lot of times we try to tell our own, not because we're trying to be full of ourselves, but we're trying to prove that we know what we're doing and
Mhm.
we want to show that we're an expert in our field and we want you to feel okay coming and joining us in it. But a lot of times when we talk and lead with ourselves, people don't care about that. you know,
It's
they want to care. They care about like, do you get me? And can you
yeah.
help me? Like, can you
Uh,
help me make progress?
oh my god, you are speaking my language because I tell people all the time your marketing isn't about you. And I serve on a political committee locally and we talk a lot about like, oh, well, what have the Democrats done wrong? And this is where politics comes into marketing. And it's like, well, all of these candidates are just running on their resume.
Mm,
They're not running on, "What are you gonna do for me? How are you going to change my life? Do you hear my problems?" So you saying that, like, it's storytelling is like all the light bulbs for me because
that's it.
it's true, and it's true not just with, I think, marketing a course or a membership or something that you wanna impact many people, but, like, even just trying to get one-to-one clients.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And the more you can tell someone else's story, the better
Mhm.
off all of your marketing and messaging will be.
Yep.
If you think about it, because think about like a book that you've read or a movie that you've watched.
Mhm.
You can't if nothing's resonating with you, if you don't feel like there's a piece of you in some of these characters, or you have any kind of commonality with a storyline and can resonate, you're going to put
Mhm.
the book to the side
Yeah.
because there's nothing pulling at you. And it's the same thing. You're telling someone else's story, and they're in the membership or in the program or the course because there's something that they want. And you
Mhm.
not only believe it's possible for them, but you know how to help them. And
Mhm.
the more we can tell that and tell them what's possible, remind them of what's possible. Because we also get stuck in this like, yeah, this is my problem, and I don't think it's ever going to get fixed. So to be able to cast the vision for people of what's
Mhm.
possible for them and have that stir them. You got to stir that imagination. I wish I could remember the quote. I have it on my desktop, but it's the author for The Little Prince. He wrote something to the effect of, if you want people to build a boat, don't just talk to them about planks and tools, talk to them
Mhm.
about their longing for the immensity of the sea. Like you have to,
Oh, that's incredible.
and that's
That's a
what
good one.
then gives them that imagination and that motivation to go build the boat to get in the sea. So we've got
Yeah.
to exercise that muscle.
You've given me a lot to think about, and I know that we were talking about you mentioned how on one of my recent episodes, I was like, "I don't know if it's gonna be a course or if it's gonna be a membership." So it's gonna be a group consulting program. And you just gave me so much insights because I've been struggling with this. Like, what is the takeaway? What is the transformation? Because I work with so many clients who are just like, "I'm overwhelmed with my marketing, help me. I just want someone else to do it for me." That's great. I don't necessarily want to do anyone else's marketing. Kidding, kidding. I'm still taking one-to-one clients, but soon we're going to have a wait list. But what is the transformation of someone who's like, "Hey, I don't have the funds to hire someone else to do my marketing for me." What is the transformation that they want? And ultimately, it comes down to they want more engagement from their social media. So how do I create more engaging content? How do I not feel like I'm spending all of my time doing marketing, right?
Mhm.
And how do I get more leads? How do I get more leads from social media and email and all that stuff? Because that's what everyone wants. Everyone wants more revenue, more leads, all the things. And yeah, I love, love, love what you talk about. And you have a podcast too, right? Tell us about your podcast.
I do. I do. I have a podcast that's called My Entrepreneurial Life. And so we go behind the scenes and talk about the good, bad, and the ugly of not only building your online course or membership, but also things like lead magnets, marketing, and launching. So, yeah.
I love that. All right, Jen. I feel like this has been a really long episode for me. Usually my episodes are like 20, 25 minutes. I feel like we've been chatting for like a half hour. So we're going to kind of wrap things up here. But how can people find you? Tell us about your offers and how do your offers all kind of work together? Like, what does your ecosystem look like? And do you have a course or a membership?
So you can find me at jenhowat.com. And I have a few resources there that could be helpful about some of the top mistakes people make when they're creating courses and memberships, a starter guide, and then also how to create the ultimate onboarding experience because you want to make sure that people are feeling like they made the right decision and know where to start right off the bat. And I do a variety of things. I do strategy sessions for people that want to have some guidance, but want to do it themselves, but they're just not quite sure how they should be approaching things and they have a lot of questions. So I do strategy sessions, but I also do full builds on Kajabi. So if you have a framework or a process, we will go through it in its entirety. We'll figure out how we're going to put that into Kajabi, what it's going to look like in a dashboard or a community or a combination, and get that built. And we could do a launch plan with it, a lead magnet. Those are kind of the packages that I have together. And I do not have, okay, I'm going to confess something and people don't know this. So here you go. And this just goes to show you some of the ways we can get in our own way. I used to have a course. It's called Beyond the Content, and it's only a few years old. But I got so self-conscious because I look totally different now because I used to dye my hair super blonde. If you could see me now, it's not. It's growing out. It's like almost to my shoulders. It's my real color. It's good content. I pulled it, Heidi, because I don't look the same. I mean, it's
Oh,
stupid or what?
gosh.
Right?
Oh my
So this is
goodness.
how we can get in our own way. And I know people that do this too. They're like, oh, I don't know if I want to that's old. I don't know if I want to bring any attention to that. So there you go. Even I can get caught in the weeds and in this ridiculous, because nobody's going to care what my hair looks like. Just
Nope.
know what I'm talking about. And can I? So
If you bring
there's
it back,
another
I will
hair.
sign up for it. I want all of your expertise because your whole, theory behind scaling with purpose is just, it speaks so strongly to me. And I hope it speaks strongly to our listeners today. So if you're listening, go follow Jen, go connect with her. She's got a great offer, and I'm going to make her bring back the course. I'm going to sign up for it, and it's going to be amazing. Let's all, as business owners, just stop caring what we look like. And I've been there too. I'm like, it's funny because I was looking at my Instagram feed the other day and I was like, wow, the past 3 out of 5 reels, I've used the same video, the same B-roll video. Whoops. But no one cares. No one cares. No one cares. If it's a shitty quality video, then people are going to care. But no one cares that it's the same video. So let's get out of our own heads. Thank you so much for joining today, Jen. You're fantastic. I'm a huge Jen fan. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your expertise. If you're listening, be sure to go follow Jen. Be sure to go subscribe and give the podcast a review if you like what you hear. And until next time, go forth, stop caring what you look like, and create amazing content that stops the scroll.